Welcome everybody to a look at a new 88 films release, and it is 1976's Shout at the Devil. So this is directed by Peter R. Hunt, who also did On Her Majesty's Secret Service and Gold, the latter of which was also stars Roger Moore, and the former of which was a Bond film. And so he's worked with at least two different Bond actors. And this is a war adventure film clocking in at 149 minutes long. Stars Lee Marvin, who I've seen in 12 other films, the likes of The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, The Big Heat, and Bad Day at Black Rock. Also stars Roger Moore, I've seen in 16 other films. Obviously, mostly famous for his 7 Bond film run from the early 70s to the mid 80s. But he was also in the likes of Cannonball Run and The Man Who Haunted Himself, which is also getting a Blu-ray release from Imprint, which has unfortunately been delayed a couple of weeks, but we are going to get that at some point. Also stars Barbara Parkins, who was in the likes of Asylum, The Mephisto Waltz, and Bear Island. And finally, Ian Holm, who I've seen also in 16 other films. He was in 2 of the Lord of the Rings films, 2 of the Hobbit films, as well as Ratatouille, The Fifth Element, and Juggernaut. So this is a set during World War One, where an English adventurer, an American elephant poacher, and the latter's attractive young daughter all set out to destroy a German battle cruiser, which is awaiting repairs in an inlet just off Zanzibar. So with its great cast, solid pacing, and despite the long running time, this surprisingly doesn't get boring, which is primarily down to the plot constantly moving along while having plenty of action throughout its running time. Now, sure, this isn't perfect thanks to one of our heroes being a poacher, although thankfully that is confined to the first act, but it does ultimately not get you on side with him for quite some time, and there is some racism to it, which is unfortunate. One main reason why is because Roger Moore's character blacks up to infiltrate this battle cruiser, as the German crew use local natives to, move bits around in the ship, and that's how he basically gets on board the ship. But you've also got Ian Holm's character, who is called Mohammed, and obviously Ian Holm is not, from the Middle East. He's white, and that is also a bit of a problem. Now, thankfully, Ian Holm does not speak in the film. His character is a mute due to being hung at some point in the past, which at least means that you don't have him trying to put on an accent. But it's just not doesn't really float really. I doubt it floated in 1976 all that well, and it certainly doesn't now. And that is really rather unfortunate. But on top of both of those aspects, you also have a really rather jarring tonal shift around the 85-minute mark that I feel could have been led up to in a more effective manner. So, all 3 of those elements do ultimately hold this film back. But that said, the character interactions are done in an effective manner. Lee Marvin is hilarious in the lead role as the old drunk poacher, especially once we get out of the first act and we start learning more about him and his character starts to evolve, which means that he does have overall an effective character arc. There is some effective tension. The production is predominantly convincing, although when it comes to the end action scene, you can certainly tell how they did what they did. Basically, you can see certain parts of the production aspects to it, which is a little bit annoying, but overall the production is solid. It is also well shot, especially when it comes to the locales, which are also well used. The score is good. I think it's by Maurice Jarre, who I've seen plenty of stuff from before, but he does a really rather good job. I'm pretty sure he did the score. Yeah, said that on the back. So he's done plenty of scores that I've enjoyed before, and this is another really rather good one from him. And the violence in this is quite extreme for what is ultimately a mainstream film. You know, it costs quite a lot of money to make, but it also did make a fair decent amount of money at the box office. But yeah, especially considering it is only rated, as you can see, a 15. Considering the amount of violence in it, I was surprised it's only rated a 15, to be honest. So yeah, it is really rather quite violent, and could have gone a little bit more violent in one aspect, which it cuts away from, but the fact is it's insinuated enough for you to be, really quite taken aback by it. So, but overall, a really rather solid film despite its issues. 4 out of 5 from me, which I wasn't expecting to give it, considering it doesn't have the highest of average ratings on the likes of Letterboxd. Its Rotten Tomato score is only 50%. But yeah, on the whole, really rather enjoyed it, and I like the new slipcover artwork that they've got going on for it, which not yeah, it's new art by Sam Gilby, and it's also got the original poster artwork on the reverse side of the sleeve. So yeah, we also get a booklet with this as well. No poster though, unfortunately, but we do get the original poster artwork on the booklet. And there's Roger Moore. So inside the booklet, we've got Worth Shouting About, which I believe doesn't actually say. Oh, it's about Mia Boffey. Basically explores the film, which has again shots from the film on the inside. That looks like a behind the scenes shot. So yeah, it's quite a extensive one there. We've also got an alternate poster inside. So yeah, I'm surprised the new artwork puts Roger Moore at the front because he is quite clearly the supporting actor to Lee Marvin's character. Um, but then we also get Shouting at the Devil with Marvin and Moore by Barry Forshaw. Also get another poster inside there, which again, I always like it when booklets include different alternate posters because it also just shows how it was maybe marketed in certain areas. And yeah, this is a much more different kind of film than Roger Moore was obviously doing at the time with the likes of the Bond films. Always feels like he never needed really to do these kind of films. You know, you look at likes of Gold or The Man Who Haunted Him. No, well, actually, that came out just before he started out in Bond. But you look at Gold, for instance, he certainly didn't have to do something like that, and yet, or you know, Cannonball Run as well. He doesn't need to really do those kind of films at the time, considering I'm pretty sure the Bond series was a foregone conclusion for him for a long time, at least up until For Your Eyes Only, for instance. So, yeah, another nice poster at the back there. And we also get a printed disc. And we get the reversible artwork as well, which has one of the posters that I think we saw in the booklet. I like both of the artworks, to be honest, but I think this one is a bit more true to the actual film, considering Lee Marvin is at the front rather than at the back, because he is, at the end of the day, the main character. And yeah, on the disc, we get a high definition 1080p Blu-ray presentation in 2.39 to 1 aspect ratio. Now, I will say that the transfer itself is not the best. There is at times some small white spots that come up on the screen, so it doesn't look like it's had much of a restoration, if any at all. So that is a little bit of a shame. We also get English LPCM dual mono audio, optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, making Shout at the Devil, and The Devil Makes Free. Tony Klinger on Shout at the Devil. Tony Klinger was the producer of the film. Exploding Bottles and Shooting Models, the SFX of Shout at the Devil, original trailer, and Stills Gallery. So, yeah, some overall decent extras on there. And this is number 13 in 88 in the 88 Vault series that 88 films have been doing as of late. So yeah, overall a solid film, far better than I was expecting it to be. I didn't even know the running time of this film until I actually got it. For some reason that just completely passed me by. But yeah, despite me initially thinking, oh, that's quite a long film, is this really going to be able to pull that kind of thing off? Because I think this is comfortably Roger Moore's longest film he's ever done. I think the longest Bond film was about 2 hours 10. So yeah, you're looking at a good 20 minutes or so longer than that. But surprisingly enough, it makes the most of that running time and fills it quite healthfully, to be honest, with very few moments of, you know, aspects that feel wasted or, you know, padding out the film or anything like that. So on the whole, a fairly solid effort. Not perfect by any means. I've already stated the flaws, but yeah, they certainly hold it back somewhat. But on the whole, far better than I was expecting. And as far as, you know, action-orientated non-Bond films in Roger Moore's career, this is comfortably the better one I've seen. North Sea Hijack, for instance, I found really rather underwhelming. Gold wasn't anywhere near as good as this. So yeah, on the whole, a really rather good shout, to be honest, to watch this. So if you have seen it, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.